Agile is hot and trendy right now, especially with all that's happening around the world. And a lot of companies, big companies, small companies, are rushing to transition from the waterfall project management model to Agile way of working. And as a result, there's a lot of confusion around this project management. You know, a project manager role. There's a lot of confusion around that role. With Agile, there's cross-functional teams. People are self-managed, self-organized. There's a shared responsibility. So what happens to this project manager? Is the project manager doomed in this kind of environment? Well, yes and no. But even before answering this question, let's quickly go through the traditional project manager's role. In the waterfall model, project managers are responsible for defining scope, planning work activities, distributing tasks across team members, updating on the project status, and many other things. Basically, it's the perfect definition of a command and control role that we are so used to seeing. On the other hand, in Agile, the focus is on transparency, cross-functional teams with a shared vision, ownership, shared responsibilities. People are self-managed, they are self-organized. And if you have a look at the Agile manifesto, the 4 values, the 12 principles, you'll realize that the project manager role is quite redundant in this kind of environment. Is there even the project manager role in Agile? Well, if you look at what most companies do, most companies transitioning to Agile, most of the time from a waterfall model, they have tons of project managers, lots of it in the company, and they are transitioning to the Agile way of working. What do most companies do in this situation? What do they do with the project managers? Do they fire the project managers? What do they do? Well, simple. They convert all the project managers, or most of them, to Scrum Masters. And if you're not using Scrum, maybe you're using Kanban, Lean, maybe the project managers will become delivery managers. Maybe the project managers will become Agile project managers. I don't believe transitioning project managers to the Scrum Master role or even the delivery manager role is the right thing to do. They are quite different roles. So instead, why not go one level higher? Instead of focusing on the team-related roles, why not focus on the organization instead? Project managers, even when doing an Agile transformation, are quite useful, especially in large organizations. Large organizations typically run hundreds, thousands of projects at the same time, and having a project manager being involved in all these projects is extremely beneficial. But there's a problem with that. The command and control approach, this mindset that typical project managers have in the waterfall model. Forget about that. The project manager instead should be about empowering people, about collaboration, about agility, not about this command and control. So what happens to the project manager role in Agile? Well, the biggest change when transitioning to Agile in this Agile environment is that the project manager, instead of controlling the playing field from a high-level position, they will now practice horizontal management. Instead of command and control, they are now servant leaders. Remember, when implementing Agile, we want cross-functional teams who have a shared vision, shared ownership, self-managed team, self-organized team who feel empowered to make decisions without a manager's approval. That's what Agile is all about, not this command and control mindset, which is no longer relevant in today's day and age. One key aspect where the role of a project manager evolves a lot when doing an Agile transformation is planning. There's sort of a myth. In an Agile environment, there's no planning. When implementing Agile, you stop doing planning. In Agile, there's no planning whatsoever. No one is planning stuff compared to waterfall. And you know that is totally false. If you're implementing Agile, if you've worked with Scrum, Lean, Kanban, anything Agile related, you know that there's a lot of planning. Planning at multiple levels. Planning every single day. I feel that there's way more planning in Agile than in the old waterfall model. But instead of creating detailed plans and listing them on Gantt charts, Agile project managers have collaborative discussions to determine only high-level plans based on what is known now. Those plans are then broken down into smaller chunks, which are then progressively elaborated by the team throughout the whole project. The project manager, even in Agile, the project manager doesn't do the planning alone, doesn't assign tasks to team members alone. Nope, it's the team who does the planning. Remember, they are self-organized, they are self-managed. The team are empowered enough to make decisions and do the planning themselves. Another aspect where the role of a project manager evolves in an Agile environment is collaboration with stakeholders. You see, an Agile project manager connects the dot between high-level requirements and the day-to-day execution of the team. Or even teams, the Agile project managers help in setting up the vision of multiple projects, maintaining transparency, help in creating a shared understanding of what is done, what's the definition of done for the team, or maybe even for the organization, for this particular project. And we do all this by collaborating with stakeholders, the team, the sponsors, and even sometimes the customers. The key really lies in the servant leadership term here. In an Agile environment, Agile project managers lead by example, empower the team, individuals, the organization, instead of a traditional project manager who sometimes controls people. This command and control mindset, and maybe even blame others when something goes wrong. Don't get me wrong, project managers, even in an Agile environment, are still managers. They are still managing, but instead of managing people, they are now managing work. But all this looks good on paper. It seems easy to do, but it's not that easy. Changing this mindset, especially the command and control mindset for project managers who have been doing that for years, or even other members of the organization when doing an Agile transformation, transitioning to Agile, extremely hard to do, especially for middle management, upper management. One of the reasons why Agile transformations fail, because upper management, middle management, directors, they can't do it. They can't. They fear this loss of control. They fear this perceived loss of status. That's why they can't really empower people in making their own decisions without their approval. It's hard to do. It's recommended that project managers, even in an Agile environment, still use project management principles. They use the latest version of a project management body of knowledge. They should also have a look at the Agile manifesto. Before Agile values, the 12 principles. Have a look. Read, if you're using Scrum, read the Scrum Guide 2020. If you're using Lean, use Lean principles. Read some Lean books. If you're using Kanban, take some Kanban courses. So many things to study, so many things, opportunity to grow in terms of your skills and knowledge when transitioning to Agile. And if you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.